Jane, how long have you been in the position now?
This is coming towards the end of my 5th week now.
Fantastic. Are you enjoying it?
I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it.
You're still standing.
I'm still
so
smiling.
That's good.
That's
and
good,
smiling.
yes.
The last time I saw you a couple of weeks ago, it was at Grainne Studios, and you were on like a little tour sort of going around.
I was out with one of our team members, Martin Kane, and we were out and about just visiting venues and places like Grainne where the Arts Council has input and support. So it's been great. I've already met lots of lovely, lovely people.
Which is fantastic. And of course, people will know you from your association with the Manx Music Festival, with the Guild, and previously doing PR and press for that. Are you still doing that role?
Well, I'm sort of coming to the end of that now, mainly because I'm so busy now with work. So,
but will you still be singing though?
Oh, that's the $1 million question.
It had to be asked.
I don't know. Never say never, I suppose. Never say never.
How much does the role then incorporate music? How much of what you do in this role has a sort of music involvement? Because we say the arts, but that could cover anything and everything, can't it?
It does cover everything, and it's quite surprising because we are the arts team and we support the Arts Council. There's 9 members on the council, and they all come from various art backgrounds. There's representation of architecture, film, obviously music, theatre, fine art, so it's very varied, and it's that the Arts Council's role is to support all that and to promote all that in the Isle of Man.
And we're always bleating on, aren't we, Sarah, about how fantastic the art scene is over here. But have you been surprised by what you've discovered since you've been in the role?
It's amazing. There is so much going on. It's hard to believe, really.
I know,
isn't it?
Yeah,
For such a small population, there's such a massive amount of talent and enthusiasm, and it's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And Grainne, obviously in your role as you're the arts engagement officer, aren't you? And obviously you'll have an awful lot of contact, I'm sure, with artists from every walk of life on the island. Just tell us a little bit about what your role involves.
I promote events and projects that are going on the island. They don't necessarily have to have been funded by the Arts Council. They could be anything to do with the arts, because it's my job to help people get more engaged, and that just means get more involved with it, participate in every level, because art really is there for everyone, and if it wasn't, we would quickly know about it.
Well, for those that aren't part of any of the art scene, how engaged are we then as a public? Do you think we are aware enough of what's going on out there?
Well, a lot of what I hear is, I didn't know about that. So it sounds like the interest is there and people would want to go, but the way that it's advertised or promoted, it's maybe not reached people. So that's part of my job, is to try and get there before they're saying, I didn't know about that. So it is an ongoing process, and we're trying to come up with loads of creative ways of doing that, rather than just, it's on the newspaper or whatever.
Smartphones.
Smartphones.
Wow.
And we've got an engagement survey at the minute to try and gauge sort of what people are participating with and what they're receptive to and what they want more of and what they don't want more of, just so that we can find out what we need to be doing going forward, really. And
that the survey is still open and people can still take part in that, can't they? How do they do that?
Yes, you can find it at isleofmangov.im/culture, or you can find it on our website. It's still available until the 18th of August, and I really recommend, whether or not you consider yourself an artist or involved in the arts at all, please fill it out, because your view matters.
We'd really like people to fill it in, as many as people can, even if, like Grainne says, people think that they're not arty. It's important to us to know what people are interested in, what events they visit, what they'd like to see more of. Otherwise, we can't help to give people what they want. People criticise often. They always say, it'd be great if you could do this, or it'd be great if that would happen on the Isle of Man. But unless we know, we can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I suppose something else we need to appreciate is that even if you don't consider yourself someone who's engaged with the arts in any of its forms, everything around us has come from some creative somewhere. The wallpaper,
Absolutely.
the film you watch, the advert you see, it's everything.
The clothing,
that makes our material world, and
the packaging
so
of
many
your
experiences,
food.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you are engaged in the arts whether you realise it or not. So don't be afraid to take a look at the survey and make your voice heard too.
Yeah, but again, I still need to remember to finish mine off every time I talk about this. I think, I've still got the last few questions to answer, because you can, Jane, can't you? You can start filling it in, and if you don't have time to finish all of it.
Yeah, and you don't, I think, have to answer every question as well. You know, there are some questions about, for example, you know, household earnings, which some people don't feel comfortable about answering, and that's absolutely fine. They're only there so we get an idea of a general demographic around the island as to who's doing what, but you don't have to answer all of that. But please do the survey.
And have you been able to look yet at any of the ones that have been sent through?
No, not yet. It doesn't close till the 18th of August, and then we'll start finding out what's been said.
Filtering through them, so as many people as possible. We want to obviously put their
please.
voice to that. And also, you mentioned the makeup of the Arts Council itself. You're looking for some new members, I believe.
We are looking for 2 new members. The term of office on the Arts Council is 4 years. So the members can do 4 years, and then they can, if they'd like, stay on for another 4. But after 8 years, they have to retire. So we've got a vacancy for 2 new members, and we'd really love to hear from anybody who has an interest in the arts, has an artistic background, and would like to get more involved with what we do. It's not onerous. There's about 10 to 12 meetings a year, and it's interesting. It's very interesting, and there's an application form on our website, which is www.iomarts.com, and the closing date for that is the 10th of August, so we'd really love to hear from people.
And essentially this means that you could make a mark really on what is developed on the island with regards to the art scene, because this is people who are coming to the Arts Council for funding, isn't it, to make their projects happen?
For sure. The council look at all the applications that come in to us, requests for funding, and they then decide and discuss what funding they'd like to give, and obviously they're very keen to support and help everybody if they can.
This is one of those situations, isn't it, Sarah, where you think, well, put your money where your mouth is then. Because you do have a lot of people, like you said, sort of saying, well, they should have done that or they should have done the other. Well, you know what? Put yourself forward.
Absolutely.
Why not?
And can we emphasise that it doesn't matter if you feel that you're too young or too old or what gender you are. We really welcome a very varied demographic here. We want it to be representative of the island, so don't let any of those things put you off.
Well said. And also, speaking of that, actually, about funding, there's some student bursaries available, apparently. Tell us about those.
So we have our next funding round is going to be a focus on student bursaries, which means that we have a grant available if you are studying off island and you need help with your travel, your accommodation, the equipment that you need to do your arts degree, and it is for an arts degree. And it's really, it can change everything for you if you're a student, because it is very expensive going to university, and if money is a barrier, then the Arts Council are there to consider your application and help if they can, because money, if it's your passion, then you want to knock that hurdle down and pursue it. So we've got some really good stories of people that we've caught up with from that, and they're on our website now. We've got Misha, who is a dance student in Liverpool, and I'll be putting up an article soon about Sarah, who's in Bournemouth, and she's doing costume design for the theatre shows, and it's just amazing catching up with what these students are doing, and that they wouldn't have been able to do it if they didn't have that help, just with their fees. Not tuition fees, but with their costs of travel and accommodation and things like that.
Yeah, so the applications need to be in by the 22nd of August. And obviously the exam results are sort of heading towards us. So if the students are interested, then if they want to give us a ring on 694-598 and have a chat, or they can just fill in their application forms and get that sent in. But 22nd of August is the cut-off date.
We'll put all the details on the blog after the show. And Grainne, actually, on that note, speaking of young people in the art scene over here, it does feel like more and more are actually returning to the island once they do have those qualifications under the belt. I'm thinking about Care Collective, which of course you're part of, but really thriving young art scene at the moment here.
I think that's right, and it's really exciting. It's very exciting being on the island at the minute with the arts. back when I was choosing what degree I was going to do, I did history because I didn't even think that arts was a viable career option at all. And yet I've come right back around to arts again here, but it feels more possible for people at a younger age to pursue a career in arts and to come back to the Isle of Man. You know, they can sort of have it all, as it were. So yeah, it's an exciting time.